We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider Rapid Reactions Edition presented by Modelo. And it comes after Carolina picks up an 86-70 victory over Louisville in the Smith Center tonight. An odd game. Carolina led by as many as 20 late in the first half. Louisville then makes 9 of its first 10 shots in the second half. Made its first 4 or 5 three-pointers of the second half. Cuts that Carolina advantage all the way down to 5. Then the Tar Heels stretch it back out and win by double digits. So let's talk about it. Plus, you're going to hear from Hubert Davis. Not a very happy Hubert Davis, I would say, after this one. Adam also talked to one of the individuals who played great, Jalen Withers. We'll talk about him in just a minute. Adam, it felt like Carolina came out of the gates like gangbusters, really played well the first 8 or 10 minutes, and then kind of cruised for a little while. And because of that cruise, Louisville was able, thanks to some really hot shooting, get back in the ball game and make this a competitive game in the second half.
It felt like the Tar Heels expected Louisville to curl up kind of like Syracuse did. And then when they didn't, they were like, okay, well, we'll keep going. But, like, we know we're already ahead. And just couldn't quite put them away. But you never felt like, oh, this is getting very dangerous and tense. But never did quite put them away, and that's something that you eventually have got to get good at. So there's room for improvement, and Hubert Davis for sure the next couple days is going to talk about Louisville shooting 64% from the field and 75% from 3 in the second half.
Yeah, and that is coming off. I mean, Carolina's played such good defense for the last 6 games and really the first half of this game. I mean, Louisville was 37.5% from the floor in the first half, 2 of 10 from three-point range. So you felt like Carolina was continuing that good defense. And then, Adam, I thought it was interesting. I kind of thought watching the game that Louisville hit some really difficult shots in the first 8 to 10 minutes of the second half to get back in the game. Hubert Davis, both in the interview that folks are going to see here in a second, and then after we were done, I talked to him a little bit more. He felt like it was a much larger issue. He did not feel like his team was crisp defensively.
I'm not sure they were really crisp in any way after like the first 8 or 9 minutes. After that, they were crisp enough. But you're also not going to be able to play to that level for 40 games in a season, this one being against a team who everyone has decided is not good, who you beat last year and has had some issues. So I'm not sure anyone should have ever really expected this to just be a Los Angeles Lakers Showtime performance. It was a win. Are we going to remember it in March and April? Probably not.
And I will say, just before we get to those interviews, credit to Louisville. I do think Louisville is too good of a program to sit there and say, hey, good job for competing hard, Louisville. But this is a team that is better now than it was 2 months ago for sure. They won at Miami last week. Very competitive game with State this past weekend. And this game was, I'll say, more competitive than people thought it might be tonight in the Smith Center. So it does feel like Louisville's making some strides, but still a long way to go. They fall to 6-11 overall and 1-5 in conference play with this loss. The Tar Heels, however, now 14-3 overall and atop the ACC at 6-0. And I had a chance to talk to Coach Davis. Adam talked to Jalen Withers, who we will talk about his great play after you hear those interviews here on the Carolina Insider. 86-70 the final score. Carolina gets the win over Louisville tonight in the Smith Center, and I'm inside the Continental Tire Coach's Corner alongside the head coach of the Tar Heels, Hubert Davis. Coach, this was a game you had a big lead early, then Louisville fights back. Your team responds. Your thoughts on what ended up being a 16-point win?
Yeah, one of the things that after the game I told them that I was really proud of them. As I said, we've talked at great detail of, how are you going to react and how are you going to respond to things. And so, when they cut the lead to 5, I was really proud of how they reacted and how they responded on both ends of the floor. In the second half, we just weren't playing any defense. There was a time where Louisville was, they were shooting 90% from the field. I was in the huddle going, guys, it's hard to shoot 90% by yourself in the gym. And I said, what it comes down to is our commitment to the defensive end and getting stops, keeping them off the free throw line and rebounding the basketball. Once we started doing that, then that allowed us to get our lead back up, and we ended up finishing the game.
I was going to ask you about the rebounds. This was a close rebounding game for most of the game, and then you guys end up with a 40-28 advantage. Felt like that was a big part of stretching that lead back out.
It was a huge part. Before the game, I said, we have to win the rebounding game. We have to win the turnover game. We have to win the free throw game. We've got to get to the free throw line more than them, and we got to keep them off the free throw line. And at the end of the day, our one-on-one defense, after we guard their actions, we're going to have to step up and get stops. And so as a coach, you always wish you could have 40 minutes of that, but I felt like in the second part of the second half, we really stepped it up and allowed us to extend the lead and be able to come away with a really hard win against a Louisville team that is much better than what their record says. That there's a talented, well-coached basketball team.
Coach Jalen Withers has been giving you some quality performances here recently, and this his best as a Tar Heel. 15 points, 10 rebounds, a big part of this victory.
He was huge. It's for me, it's always, from my experience, very difficult to play against your former team. There's so many emotions. He spent 4 years there, the relationships, the memories there, and to be able to come out in this situation, we don't win this game without Jay Witt. I mean, defensively, he was terrific. His length, his athleticism, his rebounding. On the offensive end, the way that he cut towards the basket and his ability to finish and step up and make free throws. I mean, he was the MVP of our game. I mean, he just was terrific on both ends, and he was the guy coming off the bench that really ignited us and gave us a spark.
Coach, tonight, Armando, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He moves into 4th place all-time at Carolina in scoring. He moves into 4th place all-time in rebounding in the ACC history, past Ralph Sampson tonight. Just a really solid performance from somebody who's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, he has, and I really feel like he's been in his groove and at his best over the last 6 games. I thought there was a stretch there where the way defenses were playing him, he was trying to figure it out. And I think over the last 6 or 7 games, this is the Armando that we all have known for the last 4.5 years. I mean, it's just his ability to score around the basket, defensively block and alter shots, and rebound the basketball. We ask a lot of him every day, and he always delivers, and he played really well tonight.
Last thing, Coach, you now go into your first of one of these Saturday, Monday turnarounds, start on the road against BC and then back home against Wake on Monday. So a busy stretch here for your group.
It is, but, I mean, it's been a busy stretch since the first game. I mean, it just – this is our schedule, and at the end of the day, North Carolina's going to show up. And so we can celebrate tonight, and then tomorrow we lock in and keep our eyes focused on our preparation against a really good Boston College team that plays extremely well at home. And so we've got confidence of being able to play well on the road, and that's something that we'll have to do on Saturday at 2 o'clock.
Looking forward to that. That's Carolina's next action this weekend. But for tonight, Carolina wins at 86-70 over Louisville in the Smith Center. Coach, as always, thanks for your time and congratulations.
All right. Thank you very much, Jones.
Alongside Jalen Withers after his first Tar Heel double-double as Carolina beats Louisville, 15 points, 10 rebounds, first double-double as a Tar Heel. What'd that feel like?
Man, it felt great. I mean, it's great to get the first one in the books as a Tar Heel, and against the Cardinals. That's really great for me. I think it's really meaningful, not only because my fam was in town and at the game, but it's the first one in the books, and hopefully many more to come.
How many people did you have at the game tonight?
About 9 to 10, I believe.
They got to see a great performance, those 10 rebounds. It feels like here lately, especially on the offensive glass, you've been a big part of Carolina having some big rebounding edges. What have you been doing the last couple weeks to get on the glass more efficiently?
I think just having a mindset of, keeping myself in tune with the game, whether that be on the defensive end or offensive end. I think that, my athleticism is probably the best part of my game. So I think that I got to utilize that whenever I'm out there. And I think that on the playing defense and rebounding are probably the 2 easiest things for me to do.
What has helped you figure out a way to utilize that athleticism, the way the coaching staff is asking you to, and the way that fits in best with this group?
Sorry, repeat that.
Just it feels like you're using your athleticism even better than you were maybe like a month ago, when it just looks like you know what to do. Yeah. What has helped you figure out what the coaches are asking you to do and what fits best with your teammates?
I would say those practice and game reps. I think that in practice that's been a really big emphasis is, everybody getting to the boards, everybody crashing, and keeping your man in front. And I think that, whenever I come in the games, having that mindset and going into them and getting those game reps have really helped me.
It feels like you're always going towards the basket right now on offense. What's a good shot for Jalen Withers right now?
A dunk or a layup. Easiest ones, right? But, working on expanding that for sure. Getting more comfortable out there.
Is this weird? What does it feel like to look to the other sideline and there's the sideline where you were last year? What does that feel like?
At first it was a little weird, seeing everybody else in the red jersey that I knew and me in a different one. It was weird at first, but I think that on the court and throughout the game, I was joking around with people on the bench and in the game and the staff. So I think that kind of eased my nerves as we was going into the game.
But it seems like such a perfect fit now. I mean, it's hard to imagine you being on that sideline. It just looks like you belong as a Tar Heel. And right. You and Elliott and a couple other guys just kind of growing into their role as the season progresses. How has that happened as everyone's kind of figured out, okay, here's the way I can best help this group win?
I think that as the games have gone on and as, we've gotten deep into the season with practice, I think that everybody has pretty much a feel for one another. So I think that, that kind of benefits us in that area.
Louisville shot 64% in the second half. Do you expect to hear about that at practice the next couple of days?
Yeah, for sure. First, I want to say about 6 minutes of the second half, they were shooting about 90%, I want to say. That's what HD had told us in the huddle, and, we kind of took that personally. We made sure that we tightened up on defense.
Tightened up on defense enough to get another ACC win. Jalen Withers, a big part of it with a double-double. Carolina beats Louisville. Jay Witt, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So again, 86-70 the final score. And Adam, you talked to Jalen Withers, and this was very much the Jalen Withers game for the Tar Heels. And he was not the only Tar Heel that played well. Armando Bacot, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. R.J. Davis, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Cormac Ryan hit 4 3-pointers in the first half to help build the big lead. But it felt like Withers and his energy, particularly in the second half, was the difference maker. 15 points, that's a season high. 10 rebounds, that's a season high. First double-double as a Tar Heel, and he was making some big plays in that second half.
Big credit to him, I think, because he's had to play so many different ways during his college career. He played inside for Louisville, he played outside for Louisville, and now he's doing kind of a hybrid here for Carolina. And it feels like in the last couple of weeks he's figured out, hey, this is what they're asking me to do. And he's been good at it. Ton of energy off the bench, really Carolina's best and primary spark off the bench tonight. And the Tar Heels needed that. And he's always active around the rim. It always feels like he has even more rebounds than he got credit for. He was saying, when he was looking at the stats, he said, I only really have 2 offensive rebounds. It felt like more than that. And it does, because he's always around there. He's tipping one. He said, I think Harrison stole a couple from me. So we decided that Harrison Ingram is a selfish player who steals offensive rebounds. And I mean, he is turning into exactly what you need off the bench, because what other team has a weapon like that with that kind of athleticism in reserve? Yeah,
that sequence that you just saw, that play where he went up and under and didn't quite like hammer home a dunk, but kind of threw the ball through the rim. That was not many guys can make that play. So an impressive play for sure. I did want to mention Ingram too. Just we were talking about guys who had nice games. 10 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, no turnovers for Harrison Ingram. So he played well as well for Carolina, including hitting a couple 3-pointers. Just a couple notes. Armando Bacot moves into 4th place all time in scoring in Carolina history, past Lenny Rosenbluth this evening. Also moved into 4th place all time in ACC history in rebounds, past the great Ralph Sampson. Where's his home, Adam?
Harrisonburg.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So a great, impressive showing for Armando as well. And kind of sneakily, Carolina rode its horses a little bit tonight, too. Bacot and Davis were both very good in this game. R.J. Davis, 6 of 12, shooting 4 of 7 from 3, 5 of 5 at the free throw line. He was very good as well. So, Carolina, 86-70 winners. Now they go to Boston College. A very solid team. BC coming off a win over Notre Dame on Monday. Have not played since. It's at Boston College, so Carolina will have to travel. And
sold out.
Sold out in BC.
Conti Forum sold out.
Conti Forum will be rocking.
I don't know if that's Boston Carolina Club takeover or if that's BC fired up for basketball, but it sounds like it could be a tough environment.
And then quick turnaround, Heels have to see a good Wake Forest team in Chapel Hill on Monday night as well. So a busy couple days upcoming. But for tonight, Carolina beats Louisville 86-70. Heels still undefeated and atop the ACC. Thanks for joining us on the Carolina Insider Rapid Reactions Edition, presented by Modelo.